Welcome everybody to the last race of the SOAR Regional Race Series. We are here for the doubleheader, round 6 and 7, which is going to be on the technical layout. I hope that you guys have been enjoying this little race series that I put out this year, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. It helps keep me motivated to make these kinds of videos. So we're starting off with round 6 here, which is the Saturday. Now the points aren't looking very good. It's not as close as I would have hoped with Zoli 12 points ahead of me. But luckily we do have over a 50-point gap to third place, so second should be pretty safe. We'll see if we can make any kind of attempt on first place in the championship, but it's not looking so good. Alright, we got another great start here with a decent gap right off the bat. We're going to try to keep a good pace, but at the same time, it's not really enough for me to win this race. Zoli has to be quite a bit behind me to build that points gap. So, not really in my control, but I'll do what I can and see what the end result is. The bike is also a little bit different for round 6 and 7. We noticed an issue with the TPS map really late in the season, but finally got it corrected. And essentially what the issue was is when I was giving the bike 100% throttle, it wasn't actually giving the bike 100% throttle. It was only around 85 to 90%. So now you'll see on this back straight, Zoli's not really closing that gap on the gas. Oh, but he sure did on the brakes. He goes in deep here a little bit. Tries to line me up for the dog leg, takes a peek at it. I see him in the peripheral, but I cut it off. Don't leave him any room there. Now for this race, I'm back to the Pirelli tire. I was running Dunlops previously. The Dunlop front is really quite nice. I like how stiff it is, but the Pirelli rear is a much better tire. It hooks up on corner exit. Now in this race, I'm not trying to set a blistering pace. I'm just trying to keep something somewhat consistent. Remember, it's not enough to win the race. And Zoli tries to make a move here. I close the door on him, we get nice and close, and I'm able to maintain that lead position. These kinds of moments were exactly what I was trying to create. In these kinds of moments, there's opportunities for mistakes to be made, and possibly somebody else to get in between Zoli and I, and then close that points gap. So, you know, doing what I can to try to maximize my chances of taking that championship, but we're just skipping ahead here a few laps. You'll see us coming on some lap traffic and just blowing by them. I'm a little bit wide here into the carousel, and he closes that distance on me again. Let's see if he'll try to make an attempt on the dog leg, and he doesn't because the traffic is just too heavy there. That would have just been suicidal. We're splitting lap traffic left and right. It was a lot of fun. And again, that creates those moments where mistakes can be made and that gap can close. So we're on the last lap here, still maintaining that lead position. And you'll see coming out of turn 5 here, the bike just puts the power down so well with that Pirelli rear. It has a little bit of a slide, but when it hooks up, that power just goes right to the ground. And it rockets me out. You'll see on the back straight here, the exact same thing. And it's real important on that last lap to cut that carousel tight and keep it tight. You don't want somebody making a last lap pass on you in that carousel. And kind of the same thing through the dog leg, but wasn't the case, and we're able to secure a first place finish in the first race of the doubleheader, so good way to start the weekend. And I also set a new personal record on the technical layout, so I was quite happy about that. And on to the amateur superbike race. This one I was nervous for. The points were very tight, and I knew it was not going to be easy. Oh, what's going on there? Something's gone up with Brad's bike. It looks like he's still going to be racing. I'm not going to try to let myself get distracted by this. Try to focus on having a clean start. Hopefully Brad will make the race okay, and we'll see what we can do. We had a little bit late reaction on the lights there. Brad got off to a great start. We're going to try and dive up the inside, and we do. We're up into the lead for the start of the race. Now, at this point, it's time to put the hammer down. So Brad and I are exactly 6 points apart in that championship, him being in the lead. So if I were to win both races and he were to come in second, we would be exactly tied in the points. But I would have more overall race wins, which would edge me out as the leader. So, just have to win the race today and the race tomorrow, and I would be champion of the amateur superbike class. You'll see Zoli got past Brad there. So Zoli, buddy, you gotta keep Brad behind you, please. So we had a pretty good gap right at the start of the race, but Zoli does manage to close it down, just skipping ahead a few laps here. He's eager for that championship too. He's quite a few points behind, but, you know, he's not giving up. So you might be wondering what happened to Brad. I talked to him after the race, and it sounded like he had some issues with his clutch on his CBR 1000. He mentioned on the warm-up lap, as he was pulling on the back straight, it was just sliding. So really unfortunate for Brad. It sucks when you have a mechanical like that take you out. Zoli and I are 10 points apart in this championship, but he's not giving up. I can hear him back there, and I have a friend signaling me saying he's right on my ass. And he dives up the inside of 4. I try to cut back, but he pushes me out wide. I get right back on him. I got to put that pressure back and try to make an attack as soon as I can. I do not want to let him break away here. I'm trying to keep right on him. I know that if he gets away, it'll be really, really difficult to catch that back. At the same time, in the back of my mind, I know that, I'm not fighting him for the championship, and crashing out for something like that will be real stupid. So it's a delicate balance of trying to make a pass back and win the race, but also not taking too much risk where you're throwing away the championship. Okay, so I know I'm a little bit faster in the dog leg. I'll get hard on the gas at the exit of the carousel here, try to carry that corner speed and try to make an attempt into turn 1. We have good speed on exit, right up alongside him, up the inside. Keep it real tight on 1 because then we'll have the inside line into 2 and we make the pass and we're back into the lead. Okay, my palms are a little bit sweaty. I'm trying to breathe, trying to keep calm. I know there's also the race on Sunday we have to go through. So if we get tangled up, it could compromise either of us for Sunday. So again, it's all about trying to find that balance of the amount of risk you want to take. Just skipping here to the second last lap. You'll see the gap is still pretty consistent. He's still on me. He hasn't given up yet. And I try to keep a tight line again in the carousel, forcing him to go wide, which allows him to go a little bit quicker, but it kind of kills his drive for the dogleg as he has to come all the way back over. And you'll see the gap there is just massive by comparison. My corner speed through the dogleg was just much, much better that day. Okay, we're on the last lap now. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to take a little bit of a blocking line, but just try to have a nice, clean end to the race. And pulling on to the back straight for the last time, we try to keep a nice tight line and completely botch the downshift. The rear is swinging left and right. I can't even keep it on track. Zoli is gone. We completely messed up, and there's nothing left to do at this point. Very, very disappointed. I ran what was a fantastic race right up until that last lap. It's one of those things that you wish you could turn back time to fix it, but you know you can't. Silver lining, I guess, being that Zoli's not my main contender, and we still finished in second place, which keeps us in a pretty good spot. And unfortunately for Brad, he did not have a great result here, and you'll see I was very frustrated with this race. Because with that result, Zoli and I were exactly 1 point apart in that championship. So whoever wins tomorrow in the amateur superbike class wins the entire championship. Good race, Zoli. Tomorrow's going to be a hell of a day. And pulling up to the massive Lost Era lightweight grid. Last race of the day here on Saturday. It's one where we're at a very comfortable position in the points. So this race is going to be a nice way to kind of unwind and relax after the stress that was the Super Sport and Superbike race. And we had a pretty good start there leading into turn 1. We're going to run a nice safe pace. Again, there's no reason to take any risk because we have a very important race on Sunday and we're very comfortable in the points. So we'll just let this play out. And an unfortunate crash for that rider there. Hope he and his bike are alright. We're just going to skip forward to the last couple of laps here, catching on some lap traffic. We're catching him in a very awkward spot in the dog leg. Not a lot of room there, but the speed difference is pretty big. I'm going to try and take them both on the inside, and oh, that's a little bit too risky. Oh, we're through the grass on that pass. Whoa, that was a little bit nerve-wracking. Let's have another look at that. You'll see me kind of look up the both of them, change my mind on it, and cut very sharply through the grass on that. It's a little bit of a pucker moment there, but we made it through just fine. Good bit of fun to keep you awake, but we do end up finishing this race in first place. So let's take a look at the standings now at the end of the day. You'll see that we are still a little bit far apart in Super Sport, but in Superbike, like I said, it's just that 1 point. Lost Era Lightweight is also looking like a very comfortable lead. So we'll move on to Sunday's race, starting with the Super Sport class. Try to have a good start here. Oh, bit of a wheelie. We'll just ride that out right into turn 1 as we take the lead. We'll try to keep the pace up. It's kind of out of my control here at this point, really. It's ultimately going to become down to whoever makes a mistake. But we don't want to take much risk, I think, neither of us really. Because we know that Zoli just basically has to finish this race. And he's got that championship. And the next race is the Superbike one, which is very tight. Just skipping ahead a couple of laps here, you'll see that Zoli is right on my ass. He's not giving this up. He really doesn't need to be fighting this hard. He could just settle for second place and be alright with it, but that's not in his character as he tries to look up the outside of me in the carousel. But again, I close it through the dogleg, keep that corner speed up, and look at that gap on the exit. And we're now getting into the tail end of this race and actually starting to come up on lap traffic. That's going to be a big factor. It's been a big factor in all our races this year, and this is no exception. I look up the inside to take these lappers, but there's just no room as they cut it nice and tight. I try to keep a little bit more corner speed, go around the outside. Zoli somehow decides he'll join the party, comes in as well, and we're weaving left and right trying to get through these lappers, and it's an absolute miracle that nothing happened and we got through cleanly. Zoli takes a look up the inside of 3, but not really much room to do anything there. And I'll have to apologize because my GoPro decided to no longer work for the remainder of the weekend. So I'll be switching the video and audio for the 360 camera. So far I've been using the GoPro's audio because it's quite a bit better. You'll see now it transition over and it's it's a little rough, so apologies for that. And Zoli carries a lot of speed there, passes me into turn 1. Beautiful pass, I have nothing to say to that. Well done, Zoli, you deserve that. I decide not to push him too much here because, again, there's just no point. We have the amateur superbike race coming up, and there's no difference if I were to finish in front or behind him in this race. Just on the final section here, going through the last couple of lap traffic. And we ended up finishing this race in second place, which ultimately means that we finished in second place in the championship as well. So, wasn't meant to be, but a huge congratulations to Zoli for a fantastic season in the Supersport category. But now comes the moment we've all been looking forward to, more or less. The Superbike race. We're 1 point apart. I would leave absolutely nothing on the table. I would be putting the hammer down and getting my elbows out. And the start's going to be very important here. The R1 is sounding fantastic back there. And we're off to a great start. Alright, and we're leading into turn 1. It's looking good. At this point, it's time to put the hammer down. There's going to be no blocking. None of that. It's just going to be try and go out there and set the fastest lap, leave nothing on the table. This is the hardest, I think, that I have ever ridden this year at Grand Bend. I wanted this. I really, really wanted this. I focused on making sure my technique was as good as it could be, getting on the gas as early as I can, trying to make no mistakes at all, and just pushing as much as I could. We just skipped here to the final lap. We're still in the lead with a pretty comfortable lead over Zoli, and I am very, very happy. Boom, there it is. We took the checker flag in first place. I am over the moon happy. This means we took the championship for the Superbike class. And on top of that, we have just broken the previous amateur lap record at technical, which I see on the dashboard. That puts me on cloud 9. I could not have asked for a better way to end the season. Wow. What a race, what a pace. It's gonna be a hell of a year next year in the pro class. Wow, that was absolutely incredible. Now, I'm going to skip the Lost Era lightweight race because, quite frankly, nothing really happened in that, and we already had a nice lead on it. But you'll see a bit of behind-the-scenes action here as we get prepared to enter the Pro 600 race. Now, I'm not a pro yet, but the top finishers in the amateur class get an invitation to participate in the pro races. So grading up for the first time this year in the pro class, let's see what we can do. Oh, we have a fantastic start, taking up a whole bunch of positions, even in front of Matt Simpson there, but not for long. He comes up the outside of me and cuts heavily into turn 2. Yeah, you don't see that happening in the amateur races. Now, I gotta say, being in a race where everybody is fast is awesome. it's something that is completely new to me. I mean, in amateur 600, it was really Zoli and I that were fighting all year, whereas here in the pro class, it's just fast guys everywhere you look. I think it's going to be a great platform for next year to develop the skills, but also to develop the racecraft, as strategy is going to be more important than ever. So there's really no reason to be taking any risk here. It's just a race that's for fun, but I know I'm kind of keeping up with these pro guys and I'm having a lot of fun. You'll see me tuck the front here in the carousel and just kind of pick it back up. That was a little bit of a sketchy moment, and I'm actually able to keep enough speed that I make a pass on Matt Simpson. I think he was riding injured that day, so I'll have to try to make that pass again when he's fully fit. We'll see if we can make that happen. But one thing I gotta mention is with the pro class, I'm going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage next year because as far as I know, I am the only one in that class that's running a stock motor. So we'll just have to ride even harder to try to make up for that. So we just missed out on the podium there, taking a 4th place finish in our first ever pro race of the year. Not too bad. And let's take a look at the final point standings. In the Super Sport category, unfortunately, we did miss out on that. Huge congratulations to the winner, Zoltan. In Superbike, we did take that win, and we did as well in Lost Era Lightweight. So we'll be defending the Lost Era Lightweight class next year for sure, and then also be racing in the Pro Supersport class. I don't think I'll be running the Pro Superbike class. Unfortunately, that's not one I can really run with a stock R6 motor, but possibly going to run the Lost Era Heavyweight. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the videos. I really hope you'll subscribe. It really helps keep me motivated to keep making them. I'm not 100% sure if I'll continue making them into next year, but we'll see about that. And you guys, I hope you enjoy the off season. Keep healthy, keep fit, and we'll see you next year.